This week on Two-Faced Wrestling Talk.
The WWE King of the Ring final is set, and the two that will be squaring off were unlikely to be there when the tournament kicked off. We will discuss that as well as the return to MSG for WWE TV, as well as look ahead to Clash of Champions. Big news on the Impact front this week. We will analyze their second TV move in less than a year. New Japan Destruction events are this weekend with the rematch for the British Heavyweight Championship, and Ibushi's title shot is on the line against Kenta. Plus, it's Friday the 13th. Are you feeling lucky or unlucky? And along those lines, what wrestlers should feel lucky or unlucky about their careers? It's all coming up next.
Two-Faced Wrestling Talk, the podcast that goes beyond WWE and goes in depth on NJPW, AEW, ROH, PWG, and more. Also featuring fun pop culture and wrestling crossovers, listener Q&As, and extended discussions about wrestling topics past, present, and future. Now, here's your host, Kelsi.
Hi, and welcome to Two-Faced Wrestling Talk. I'm joined, as usual, by my co-host, Paul.
I am here and ready to go as kind of a light week. I mean, we've got a few noteworthy things, but I think the most noteworthy thing is this is our first episode back out on our own after a successful run at Wrestling Inc.
Yeah, we did about 50 plus episodes there, so thank you Wrestling Inc. for having us, but now we're off on our own. We're solo, flying solo for now, and if you guys followed us from Wrestling Inc., thank you very much for sticking with us. But if you are new to our podcast and this is the first time you're hearing us on our solo audio feed, you just discovered us, thank you so much. Please stick around. We do talk wrestling. A lot of people do that too, but guess what? We do a lot of fun things and creative things mixed with wrestling talk. So it's not just news and reviews, it's also some creative, fun, pop culture crossover stuff too.
As they will hear at the end of the show in our second segment, as we do a whole Friday the 13th themed, you and I will pick who we think could be Jason from Friday the 13th.
Which wrestler could be Jason,
yes.
Yeah.
And we will hear what wrestler. Some people think Friday the 13th is lucky, others think it's unlucky. So we're going to get your opinions on what wrestler is the luckiest and what wrestler is the unluckiest.
Can't wait to read people's comments because we got a lot of good ones on Twitter.
We did. And we've also got a lot of good stuff that just came out this week. Our brand new merch store with 2 cool logos and more to come.
Yep, our merch store is filled with, speaking of crossover stuff, we've got a design that's based off of my Twitter brand. It says Super Kicking It with Kelsi, and it's all these cartoon characters in a wrestling ring, like beating each other up. It's really awesome. And then, of course, we've got our podcast logo available on t-shirts as well, and you could find our merch at superkickingit.deco-apparel.com. So again, that's superkickingit.deco-apparel.com. So please check it out. We'd love it if you buy a shirt. It'd be a great support to our podcast. Keep us going strong.
And not just shirts. There's all kinds of merch. Coffee mugs, tote bags.
And a pillowcase.
A pillowcase.
Yes, it's random, but yes.
So definitely check that out. And we also want to thank our good friends who do support us, WrestlingTravel.org.
Yep. Check them out on Twitter, not only at their website, at Wrestling Travel. If you guys have questions, they've got travel packages to all kinds of exciting wrestling events, including WrestleMania.
And they had news this week, only a couple packages left for Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah, they are selling like hotcakes.
Yeah, so if you want to go to Wrestle Kingdom, better hurry, because there's only a couple left.
Yep, so get on that, guys, while you still can, because only like 3 spots, I think, last time I saw. By the time this releases, it might be even less.
But if you can't get on that, there's plenty of other choices. But speaking of New Japan, we'll get to some New Japan stuff in a moment. But now it's time to give our opinions on the latest wrestling shows, news, and developments. It's time for headlines. And so we are going to start with WWE, and the King of the Ring finals are set. And if you say that you had Baron Corbin versus Chad Gable in the finals before the tournament started, you're lying.
I had Gable. You asked me my dream scenario, and I said Gable.
Yes,
remember?
You did. But just given the fact that you don't like Corbin, I know you didn't have Corbin on the other side.
I didn't have him, no, but it would have been easy pick because they're pushing the hell out of him.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's supposed to be, kind of somebody breaking through, so that's kind of why Gable would make sense. I just think they missed some opportunities on great matches. I said this last week. You could have had Ricochet versus Murphy. You could have had Ricochet versus Ali. Even Ricochet versus Gable.
Gable versus Joe.
Yeah, which they seem to be setting up with Samoa Joe and Gable's interaction backstage.
But we think Joe's hurt now.
Yeah. So that's part of it too. But
well, he was hurt in the match that he was going to lose anyway. But still, it sucks that he's out apparently.
Yeah, a lot of injuries actually this week. Drew McIntyre on the shelf. Elias getting hurt. That's why Shane McMahon went against Chad Gable. So injuries playing a part of things, but I'm not going to say that I'm overly excited about this King of the Ring final, which is now going to be on Raw. There was speculation all along it was going to end at Clash of Champions, but instead it is going to be at Raw next week, and we will see who the new King of the Ring is there. Now,
who do you want it to be? You like your boy.
I do like Corbin. I'm not a huge fan, but I'm not a hater like everybody.
But between the two,
I don't know. Corbin's already won Money in the Bank, so I'd like to see Gable. I think.
Yeah, you're rooting for my boy then. That's who I want to win, of course. I really am not a Corbin fan like you are.
But it is interesting. Actually, kind of segueing into the next thing I wanted to talk about was the return to MSG, and the crowd was actually kind of into Corbin. It was we want Corbin, and then, of course, the Corbin sucks chants. But let's turn to that. MSG. Return to MSG for TV. Of course, they went nostalgic on Monday, bringing back Stone Cold Steve Austin. Tuesday, bringing back The Undertaker.
What a pop with Stone Cold.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. And I thought both sold-out shows, great enthusiasm by the crowds. I thought they put on pretty good shows for the week of a pay-per-view, but those crowds were hot.
They really were. Why bring back Undertaker if you're not going to have him go against The Fiend? I know we saw Bray Wyatt versus Undertaker long ago at WrestleMania, and I think the wrong person won, of course, because Undertaker won. And it could have been a whole passing of the torch situation. Now you have him come back, and you have nothing to do with The Fiend. When The Fiend's right there, it'd be a great storyline.
Yeah, I guess. And
if you're going to have Undertaker continue to wrestle, which it seems like they continually do.
Instead, they had him beat up your guy, Sami Zayn.
I know. I'm really bummed out about that. Why did they bury my boy? I don't know.
But he was funny. Again, telling Undertaker it's time to pass the torch to him. So,
well, the person he should be passing the torch to, as I said, is The Fiend. It would really make a lot of sense, but poor Sammy. Sucks.
But on the other side, when Stone Cold came out at the beginning of the show, it was great. Of course, he stunned AJ. And then at the end, it was kind of funny because Cedric gets the win. And they didn't give Cedric 3 seconds to enjoy the victory. Like, literally, 1, 2, 3, Cedric wins. Here comes Stone Cold. Like, they didn't give Cedric even a second to get some crowd adulation before they let the glass hit, and then Stone Cold came out.
Stunner to AJ, pretty cool.
Yeah.
Crowd was hot for that.
Yeah. But Stone Cold comes out at the end, and they have the big beer celebration, and I guess Eric, as he's known in Viking Raiders now, even though he was Rowe, I guess he doesn't drink because he was just pouring the beer on his head as opposed to drinking it. But it was quite the scene, the celebration, and good way to end the show with the 10-man tag and Austin celebrating with everybody. It was a successful run at MSG. But now, time to turn the page and look ahead to Clash of the Champions. Or Clash of Champions.
Clash of the Champions.
Yeah, I know.
It sounds epic.
Yeah. This pay-per-view, not the biggest. I mean, obviously they're selling the storyline of Braun and Seth have to tag together against Dolph and Robert Roode, and then later they'll go against each other in a singles match. This is the second pay-per-view where, in recent memory, where they've made somebody wrestle twice. Obviously, they did Becky Lynch not too long ago when she had both belts before as well. What match are you looking forward to as you peruse the card?
New Day versus The Revival. Think should be good. I also I want to see Styles and Alexander, and Nakamura versus The Miz. All kind of could be interesting.
Yeah, I think Styles and Alexander is really going to be good, and it's cool that Cedric Alexander is getting a spot on this. The renewal of RKO, Randy Orton, and Kofi Kingston, I think, should be interesting. I think Becky Lynch and Sasha and Charlotte and Bayley should both be good. In fact, there's 3 women's matches on the show when you include the women's tag match as well.
Well, of course, I mean, the 4 women involved in those 2 different matches, they're all great. So I think both matches should be really, really good.
Well, and the 4 horsewomen, all...
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
All of them are in the match.
Yeah. So, but I'm saying...
2 and 2.
Yeah, so bringing all those together that had the great success at NXT. But yeah, I think Styles and Alexander could be interesting. The no DQ with Roman Reigns and Eric Rowan becomes a little more interesting after...
No, it doesn't.
after SmackDown and the beating of, especially Rowan, throwing the jib into the security people and picking up a quote-unquote fan and powerbombing him, seeming like he was out of control. But to me, the whole no DQ screams that Daniel Bryan will be involved somehow.
Yeah, of course.
So the question is he going to help out Roman Reigns? No.
Ew. I hope not. We'll just have to wait and see.
We will. So that is the pay-per-view on Sunday.
And we'll have more thoughts on that, of course, in our review on that next week on our podcast episode next time.
Yes, we will. Let's go to some other wrestling headlines and the big news that came out this week that Impact, because of Anthem taking over AXS TV, Impact is now going to move to AXS TV, which to me does so much for their brand because you've already got New Japan on AXS. So AXS is building a little bit of a wrestling power here.
Yeah, with WoW as well, women wrestling. Yeah. So it's like a little tiny block, and it's like a really, really good cornerstone, I think, for AXS TV to have. But more so than just AXS TV, I feel like Impact's the one benefiting most of all. Because... what was it called? Pursuit or something? Or the random channel they were on?
I have no idea.
I don't even know either, but they were on a random channel with like hunting and fishing, and now this is a huge step up because wrestling fans are already tuned into AXS TV.
Uh-huh.
So people who had given up on Impact might turn their eyes back onto the product because of this. It's great news for that promotion.
Yeah, and look, I thought AXS TV, until I researched it a little bit, I thought it was kind of limited to just being a direct TV channel. But the distribution of AXS is pretty widespread. It's on cable systems like Suddenlink and Charter and, obviously on DirecTV. So I think this is fantastic for Impact. And, however AXS TV decides to set up their wrestling block, whether they make, a couple nights a week wrestling or whatever. And then, of course, now there's rumors that... they may try and go after ROH as well.
I heard that as well, and I love AXS TV, but I don't know if I could see that happening.
Yeah.
Like, because then it's like Impact and ROH are on like the same team.
Yeah. Well,
they become a powerhouse.
I wonder if they would merge together. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like, and there would be no more ROH as a single company.
Yeah, or maybe it would be called Ring of Honor because it's got the more established name. And maybe their weekly TV show would be called Impact.
And so this is ROH, all speculation.
Impact. Oh, yeah. This is all.
But say Ring of Honor did go away. I mean, a lot of people are hating on Ring of Honor these days. I don't, because the company has withstood the test of time for the most part. This is pretty much the most danger it's been in a long time. But, I mean, I would hate to see the name go away and the company to go away in general. So many good wrestlers there, but a lot of people are just sour on the company, and it's hard to see that, but maybe it would be good for them to merge with Impact. Maybe people would give it more of a positive chance now if that happened, but I don't know. I'd feel mixed about it, to be honest, because of the nostalgia and what Ring of Honor traditionally as a company has meant on its own.
And again, this is all speculation, but, I think it would be good for ROH and Impact to merge and have those rosters go together. But you got to keep the ROH name. It's the more established name. Like I said, you could create a TV show called ROH Impact. That way you keep both names, and their weekly TV show could be called Impact. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know how to feel about it yet. And again, it's just, like
rumor,
we're saying, a rumor. Which, it could be completely false.
Yeah. I mean, which rumors run rampant in wrestling. So.
I know, more than any other place, it seems like, more than normal sports.
That is true.
Yeah.
Let's switch gears and go to New Japan, which they're kind of in a stretch of Road 2 shows, but they lead up to some Destruction shows, and 2 of those are this weekend. One on September 15th, highlighted by Tanahashi and Sabre, the rematch for the British Heavyweight Championship.
We grazed on this match last week, their match at the recent show in the United Kingdom, and I thought it was really, really good. It's weird, I gotta say, seeing Zack Sabre Jr. without the Rev Pro title and Tanahashi with the title. Mm-hmm. It's just odd. And oh my God, Zack Sabre Jr. had the most amazing promo where he was talking about how, Tanahashi, I saw him, he was smooching with my belt. And it reminded me of Home Alone, where they're Home Alone 2 actually. They're in the hotel and they're playing Angels with Filthy Souls 2, and he goes, "You've been smooching with everybody. Babs, Bony," or what did he say? Bony Babs? Leo with the gimpy leg or something. Anyway, the whole smooching with everybody thing reminded me of what Zack Sabre Jr. said. And it was a great promo. Check it out. It's on New Japan's YouTube channel.
This show is also going to have a lot of Young Lions with the Young Lion Cup going on. The other interesting match, the second to last match in that show will be Gorillas of Destiny versus Yoshihashi and Ishii. And then Naito and Evil versus Jay White and Chase Owens. Some good matches, but nothing overly significant.
Although, we make fun of Yoshihashi all the time for looking like Sleepy from Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. That should still be a good match because Ishii's involved and God's involved, so 3 out of 4 contestants are pretty darn cool. And I'm not against Yoshihashi. I root for him every now and then, so it should be a fun match, regardless.
I'm looking more forward to the show the following night on the 16th. Kota Ibushi and his right to challenge for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship at Wrestle Kingdom 14 is on the line against Kenta. Kenta getting that push. We thought, he might even be in the finals of the G1 Climax, but here he is with a chance to knock off Kota Ibushi. Do you think it'll happen, though?
For a very long time, the winner of the G1 has been successful at defending the briefcase to go on to Wrestle Kingdom. So if Kenta did win, it would be quite unusual and outside of the norm of the last few years, that's for sure. I honestly would love to see that happen because it'd be really different. People wouldn't be expecting it because I think people deep down might be expecting Ibushi to just win and get to go on to Wrestle Kingdom because that seems like a Wrestle Kingdom big main event. Ibushi versus Okada.
Yeah.
But to me, Kenta versus Okada would be kind of neat if you ultimately kept the belt on Okada. Because I don't think Kenta should have it. I don't think he should just run into the company and have it.
I agree.
But it could be like a, this Noah star versus this New Japan star with the New Japan star kind of going over, but still giving Kenta a really big spot on the Wrestle Kingdom, obviously the biggest spot you could have on the Wrestle Kingdom card. So I think it could work, even though Kenta's super new into New Japan right now, but people want Ibushi.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Don't ask me to tell you who I think will win. I just want it to be Kenta, I guess.
Well, I'll be rooting for Ibushi and hoping that the Ibushi-Okada matchup stays on track.
Yeah, we'll see, whatever.
The other great match in this show, and this is why I'm more excited about this show, the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championship match between El Phantasmo and Ishimori against Will Ospreay and Robbie Eagles. We saw a hint of that on the Royal Quest show.
Yes.
But it was a short match. It was less than 15 minutes, I think. But I think we may have even said this is building to a much bigger title match, and here it is on this Destruction show.
I can't wait because they all have great chemistry together in the ring. I mean, not only the teams working together like Ospreay and Eagles, but against each other like Phantasmo and Ishimori just in the same ring, in the same area as Ospreay and Eagles. It's really a recipe for a great match.
Yeah, I think it's going to be high-flying. It's going to be awesome. I think El Phantasmo is terrific as a heelish character.
He's really mean. Yeah. He's a good heel.
And obviously we love Ospreay. Also that night, Naito and Evil against Jay White and Yujiro Takahashi. That would be the other kind of main event, I guess you would say. Also Okada, Goto, and Rocky Romero against Sonata, Shingo, and Bushi. And again, more Young Lion Cup action there. But Ibushi versus Kenta, really the headliner of the weekend. And should be some good stuff in New Japan, even though they're not major shows. They'll still be fun to watch. Well,
they're always entertaining.
Yep. Well, speaking of fun, we've got some fun coming up when we return. We will discuss Friday the 13th, whether it's unlucky or lucky, plus which wrestlers should consider themselves lucky or unlucky. That's when we come back.
If Jason doesn't get us first. Two-Face Wrestling Talk is proud to be sponsored by Wrestling Travel. Check them out on Twitter at Wrestling Travel. Also go to their website, wrestlingtravel.org, to find out about all the exciting travel packages, including a travel package to All Out, which includes 4 nights hotel stay, StarCast Platinum Bracelet, and a lower bowl ticket across from the hard cam. They also have a very fun Wrestle Kingdom travel package, which includes round-trip airfare, 5-night hotel near the Tokyo Dome, lower bowl tickets to both days of Wrestle Kingdom, and guided tours by Being the Elite's fat-ass Masa. Come on, who wouldn't want to hang out with Masa? I think that's like the coolest thing they offer. You get to have some time with him, meet him, interact with him. He'll literally be hanging with you. And you'd get to be a part of the first 2-day Wrestle Kingdom, which is going to be really special in my opinion. They also have travel packages to WWE events, including WrestleMania 36, which you can sign up for information at wrestlingtravel.org. And they've got packages to the Royal Rumble as well, plus other events too. Check out their website. There are USA travel packages, but also UK travel packages. So whether you live in the UK or where we live in the United States, you can find something for you. Also, don't forget they've got a friendly staff that can help you out. DM them on Twitter or contact them through their website.
Thanks, Wrestling Travel.
Our Two-Faced Wrestling Talk logo was inspired by Two-Face, the Batman animated series character, and his coin. The logo was designed by the talented and creative artist Eric Hudson. Eric creates wrestling-themed pieces as well as other pop culture art. He is also currently working on a Roddy Piper comic book. You can follow him on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Dreaded Dinosaur. You can also support his work by becoming a patron at patreon.com/dreadeddinosaur. Please check out his work.
And now back to Two-Face Wrestling Talk.
So, as a lot of you know if you follow me on Twitter, I've been talking about how excited I am that Friday the 13th was coming up. And today is Friday the 13th. And so we're super pumped up. The reason why I love it so much is because I was born on Friday the 13th, and I really, really love Halloweenish, scary, spooky, horror movie type of stuff. And so I feel like because of the day I was born, kind of made me apt to like really weird, creepy, spooky stuff. Maybe it's all related, I don't know.
So that leads to the question, which I already know the answer to. Is Friday the 13th lucky or unlucky?
Well, my mom and dad would say it's lucky. Because that's the day they had me. I think it's lucky, I hope.
Yeah.
Or else I'm just like a walking unlucky omen thing. I don't know. Well, you think it's unlucky?
I don't.
Because you're saddled with me.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
That's true. I am unlucky. No, I don't really think one way or the other whether it's lucky or unlucky.
How you're boring.
Just like my birthday and everything else. It's just another day.
Snooze fest.
Well, I think it's senseless to just get excited about a random day.
Whatever. My mom and dad sometimes take me out on Friday the 13th just because it's fun.
And they like to spoil you.
No, they don't.
All right.
Your parents spoil you way more, but anyway.
So you put it out as a poll on this exact question.
I did. So on my Twitter, I said, do you think Friday the 13th is lucky or unlucky? And I'll tell you the final results in a minute, but I just so happened to have looked when the poll was at 13 votes. So to be thematic, Friday the 13th, 13 votes. At 13 votes,
You
lucky.
happened to. Like, you weren't planning, like, all right, I gotta check when it's at 13 votes.
I would have had to be just sitting there, looking and staring.
I'm sure you were.
No, I wasn't. Whatever. Anyway, Lucky won with 69% of the vote at the time that I took the screen capture when it had 13 votes. So Unlucky got 31% of the vote. I think I kind of skewed the results, to be honest with you, because in the tweet I said it was my birthday and that I think it's not an unlucky day. So then the final results came in. Out of 42 total votes, 71% said they think Friday the 13th is lucky. And again, I honestly think I skewed these results, so make of it what you will. I think it's totally wrong.
Well, we'll see.
Most people think it's unlucky, so I am surprised by the results.
Yeah. Well, if you were a camp counselor or a person at a camp in the Friday the 13th movie, it was definitely unlucky because Jason generally got you.
Yeah.
So you wanted to ask, or just have a brief discussion on which wrestler we thought would be Jason.
So we didn't put this question out to the public because last year we did a lot of Halloweenish and wrestling-themed content, and we did talk a little bit of Friday the 13th, so I didn't want to, do that all over again. But we never picked who we thought would be Jason last year, so I thought it would be the perfect time. Friday the 13th, let's do it. So I think that PCO could be a great Jason.
Ooh, yeah.
Big, towering. He doesn't really talk a lot. Not in the ring anyway. And he's not human. And I think Jason's not human because he just keeps coming. I mean, heck, I could see PCO as Jason in space killing people. I could see it happening and working.
I like it.
I like it too. And I thought you were thinking of it. That's why I asked you last night. Like, who were you thinking of? Did it begin with a B or a P?
No, mine's kind of random because I think... Because you see the bald head underneath the mask and the body type, I think Luke Gallows is Jason.
I could see it, like, physically.
Physically, I think so.
But personality-wise, not at all.
As he's murdering you, he's just going to be screaming, "Nerd!" But other than that...
So he's talking and everything. That's
yeah,
so
well,
weird.
I guess. He just likes to say nerd a lot.
Yeah, nerd. I like it. It's funny. That's a good choice, actually. I wasn't thinking of that at all. But you said you were thinking of someone that started with a B.
No.
And I thought you had said P, and I was worried you were thinking of PCO.
When you said the thing when he was unmasked and the maggots, it made me think of the boogeyman.
Oh, okay. Because you had said it starts with a B, and I was like, B or P? I couldn't understand what you said, and I thought you were going to say PCO. So we didn't have the same answer. I'm glad.
So we also decided, kind of combining these last two thoughts, of with Friday the 13th either being lucky or unlucky, depending on how you look at it, we wanted to find out from you who you thought right now or all time is the luckiest wrestler and who's the unluckiest wrestler. It could be, as you mentioned last week, they've gotten a push maybe when they shouldn't have. They've been held down when they shouldn't have.
Maybe they got a lot of title shots, or maybe they had a lot of losses. Maybe they're injury prone.
Injury prone, yeah.
Exactly. So literally, lucky and unlucky can mean almost anything you want it to mean. It's kind of subjective. So here we go. Let's listen, or let's read what our listeners and viewers have to say.
I'll listen when you read, and you listen when I read.
I'll do that, yes.
Why don't you start it off?
At Hoo Hoo Wooza. Unluckiest, The Revival. Superb tag team, great continuity, but badly used. And stuck in the wrong federation. Imagine how good they would be in AEW. I actually have to agree with the AEW part. Luckiest wrestler, Randy Orton. Been doing the same gimmick for 17 years. No inventiveness, but still gets pushed. I actually like Randy Orton. I think the reason he can do the same gimmick for so long is because it works.
Yeah.
I mean, he does get stale every now and then, but then, if he is off camera for a while, if he's not on TV for a while, I think people miss him and they like when he comes back.
At Bren123 Luke says the luckiest is John Cena. I think a lot of people probably would think that as well. The unluckiest, Tyler Breeze, which is an interesting answer because as much as he was beloved in that first run in NXT, he always seemed to lose in the takeover specials. He got a push in WWE, but the gimmick didn't work that much. They went with Breeze Dango. Mm-hmm. Now he's back in NXT.
And somebody similar who you could have said a few months ago, or definitely you could say it a year ago, Ty Dillinger. But now in AEW, he's like a different person. I mean, although he did just lose to Cody, he's still doing much better with his place on the card and being featured and being used in AEW than he was in WWE. So at the time, though, if it was a year ago, you could have said Ty Dillinger was one of the unluckiest wrestlers.
All right. At Derek Stark, ravishing Rick Rude, unlucky for the reason they never held the WWE title and very much should have been pushed harder.
And I agree because I think he was super I mean, people like him now and praise him now, but I think he was almost underrated in terms of never having, like, that main title.
True. I was never a huge fan of him, though.
Really? God, he's such a good heel.
No.
And then he continued and said also, you know, Mr. Perfect also could have been used even more, and he never had the main title. But Hogan and Ultimate Warrior had the belts. Rick and Kurt could cut a promo like nobody's business and had the size and athleticism to boot. But, again, they were more unlucky than people like Hogan and Warrior.
Right. At Nate_MVP, again, luckiest Cena, unluckiest Bret Hart.
Yeah, you could say that about the screw job if it wasn't planned. You could say that he definitely was unlucky.
Yeah.
But beloved nonetheless.
And had a great career nonetheless.
Yes. At Take the Bump Pod, our good friend, the answer to both, Jimmy Wang Yang. Unlucky. The guy was given an Asian stereotype gimmick and a cowboy gimmick, two of the most overused gimmicks in wrestling history simultaneously. Lucky because somehow it worked.
That is a good one. I remember him, of course. Go ahead, continue.
Our friend Zach at ZachShe130. Luckiest wrestler is Brock Lesnar. Dude is always near the main event scene, always gets the massive title reigns. Can't get away on the part-time scale. Unlucky is Minoru Suzuki. Was pre-show for Wrestle Kingdom and G1 Supercard, wasn't in the G1, and lost his 2019 title matches. I really love this answer because Suzuki is my favorite wrestler, and I do think that he should have definitely been featured on Wrestle Kingdom last year, and he should have been in the G1. I was so bummed when he wasn't announced as part of it. And, you know, I knew he wasn't going to win against Okada at Royal Quest, but I would like to see him in the future have an IWGP heavyweight title reign eventually, before it's too late, before he eventually retires. I'm not saying that's around the corner, but he is over 50.
Yeah, no, I'm surprised he hasn't had it, and hopefully he does have it at some point because, well, we would love that.
We would. I would mark out.
If for no other reason. At Randy 0000001. Lucky, Brock Lesnar, millions a year for short segments every few months, gifted the title because WWE has no male stars to carry the brand. Unlucky, Scarlett Boudreaux signed a bad contract and still has to work a second job despite being featured.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for sure. And the Brock thing, again, like, you know, that's a common answer, but it makes perfect sense.
Yep.
Our friend Jim at the Jim CERNEY. By far, I think Zack Ryder is the unluckiest. He works so hard early in his career to get himself over. He gets a huge pop anytime he makes an appearance on Raw or SmackDown, and yet he is always buried. Still here, but getting no TV time on any show. It's very sad. He put a cry face and said, woo woo woo. And then Jim continues and says, Hulk Hogan might be the luckiest. He just showed up with a superhero physique and promo that Vince loved, and it was the right time at the creation of the WWF and was perfect for the 80s, and he quickly became a larger-than-life cultural phenomenon.
Yep, well, I mean, you could say the same about a couple of our earlier answers with John Cena. It's very similar.
Ultimate Warrior as well, someone mentioned, same idea.
Yep. At Pinto Beans 20, the luckiest Goldberg. He got his first push because of his appearance. Unluckiest EC3. The guy isn't given an opportunity, but he's a force in the ring and on the mic.
How different EC3 is now than he was back when he was in Impact. Mm-hmm. It's crazy. He has fallen so far.
Yeah.
And just is totally an afterthought.
Yeah, it was like a signing just to sign. You know, that seems
just to
like,
get him away.
Yeah. I mean, he's making money, but yeah, his career has just disappeared.
Yeah,
basically was buried in the 24/7, and you know now I think he's hurt.
It's unfortunate as heck, I gotta tell you. At Deej Kirkby, our great friend, pointing out the elephant in the room, I think one of the luckiest and unluckiest wrestlers are kind of linked. Lucky, Kofi Kingston got the push that Ali was due to get. Unlucky, Kofi got the push Ali was due to get. I like that a lot. It feeds into each other.
Well, and you know, I think you can take the Ali thing a step further. You know, we talked about it during King of the Ring. You know, they could have kind of made up for his unlucky break by letting him at least get to the finals of the King of the Ring, but, you know, you have him win one match and then get eliminated.
He's not my favorite, so I'm not that bummed, but I understand what you're saying. Then we've got Jeff at JMells1323. Lucky, Triple H. There's only one boss's daughter, and he married her. It has allowed so much more in the business than even an above-average wrestler would have gotten. to do. Unlucky. Canyon just missed his era. If he was a few years later, he would have gotten a push and exhibited his charisma and talent.
I agree with that. At View from the Top Rope.
No, at View from Top Rope.
Yep, I know. I always put the "the" in there because obviously the name of the show is View from the Top Rope. It's like with ours, where people think the
Twitter handle has wrestling talk in it, but it has pod.
Right, exactly.
Because it's shorter and easier to type.
This is one of my favorite answers. Brutus the Barber Beefcake for the luckiest. No discernible skills and only had a job because of friendships. Unluckiest AJ Lee had a great career, but imagine if she was wrestling in today's women's division and the feud she could have had.
That is just a genius answer, so out of the box. I wasn't expecting anyone to say AJ Lee is unlucky, because as he said, she had a great career, but she could have even had a better career had she been around today.
Yep, I agree.
Our friend RJ at Krasinski RJ, Corbin is lucky, Moxley's unlucky. And I think he's saying Moxley because although he's going to be back in the swing of things in AEW, he still got injured at the wrong, terrible, worst time, and he couldn't be a part of All Out, unfortunately.
And Corbin, of course, because he's getting that push.
He gets everything. He gets a ton of TV time where other people aren't even featured at all, like EC3, as we just were saying.
At Mad Nutter 0102, the luckiest, Charlotte, unluckiest, the Rusev. Having a the Rusev. I don't know why I'm putting the in front of everything.
I don't know.
You'd think I was like an Ohio State fan, not the Ohio State University. The Rusev. Having a father like Ric Flair has definitely helped Charlotte in her WWE career. Rusev has got so much charisma and is great in the ring. It's criminal how misused he's been. I don't agree with the Charlotte because I think she's one of the best female wrestlers and around. So
it has helped her, but her talent has helped her and taken her further than her name ever would have, I think.
I think it's kind of like the Joe Buck, Jack Buck argument. People think Joe Buck only got his job because of Jack Buck, his legendary broadcasting father, and he might have gotten inroads in that direction, but he's supremely talented, and I think the same way with Charlotte.
And you know, Charlotte has passion for the business. You can tell when someone's just phoning it in just to do it. She really, truly loves wrestling, and I think that really comes across, so I think it's a lot more than her name. Why she's lucky. I think she's got the skills, and it's really about talent.
And to pick up on the other part, the Rusev, I've said that for a while. They had it all positioned that he was indestructible. He had Lana by his side. Everything was perfect, and they killed it. They
ruined it.
Yep.
And he almost got over again with Rusev Day. They killed it again.
Yep.
They just made it disappear.
I mean, the guy is so good, and he got a fracture, I think, in his foot, and then they started making him wrestle in shoes, which was different. He had this one move that he used early in his career. I don't even remember what it was called, but it was so good. And then they just reduced him to the Machka kick and the camel clutch, whatever he calls it. I can't even think.
And then
Rusev Crush.
It didn't even help things that the Lana and Dolph Ziggler storyline. Oh, that was going so far downhill. It was insane.
Yep.
But Colin continues on and says you could actually literally pick 3/4 of the main roster that are unlucky because they're not featured.
That is true. There's a lot I can agree with. At Rufus K. Jones, lucky, again, Baron Corbin. Unlucky, Jason Jordan. That's actually a good answer, too.
Yeah, because of that injury and no more. That sucks. At Drunk on Tacos, unlucky, The Ascension. Awesome tag team with a creepy gimmick who are actually creepy. Vince killed them. Lucky, Bray Wyatt. Mediocre wrestler that keeps getting chances. Has a creepy gimmick, only creepy like a Louisiana uncle that wants you to come out to the shed for candy. I don't know if I agree with the Bray Wyatt thing. He's not my favorite in ring.
Why, because it makes fun of Louisiana?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but seriously, Bray Wyatt's okay. You know, he's not my favorite in ring, like Drunk on Tacos is actually saying, but he does have talent in terms of the gimmick and pulling it off and talking on the mic. He's been really good. I actually like the Fiend character way better than his old school character where he used to just sound like he was like a Dark Knight promo from like the Dark Knight Rises or something. He just sounded like he was saying something out of the Batman scripts. It was crazy.
And the Ascension answer is fantastic. We've talked about that before.
I agree 1,000% with that.
You know, I mean, they were so on fire in NXT and so popular, and within a couple months, they were nothing in WWE.
literally
now they're
right
just
away.
jobbers and jokes.
Yeah, it sucks because they could have been so much more, and they were so much more in NXT. It's a shame. Then we go to @SlamHubW, Lucky Buddy Murphy. Yeah, he's been getting a push lately, but I think he could be even luckier, get higher up on the card even.
Yeah, I think his push is deserved, so I
Yeah, me
disagree
too.
with the lucky part on Buddy Murphy.
Just because people are saying people are lucky doesn't mean they're saying it's a bad thing, or that they've got some unfair advantage. I'm not taking it as people saying lucky is that it's a bad thing.
Oh, I am.
Oh, I'm not. Well, this changes everything. I don't know. Anyway, it does change everything. What the hell? So unlucky, he said Shinsuke Nakamura. And I have to agree with that.
I agree. But he is holding the title belt, and he was the SmackDown champion. So, at Fight Boys Show, Daniel Bryan for both luckiest and unluckiest. I think that's an interesting answer as well.
It's a great answer because obviously the injuries, but then he came back and it was a feel-good story.
And had such a push because of his popularity with the crowd that got him all the way to WrestleMania 30 and winning the title.
That's also lucky as well, yeah. At EM_Jeff90, I don't have a lucky, but I do have an unlucky, and that's Rick Martel. He could have been the heir apparent to replace Mr. Perfect as the top IC level bad guy, or turned good and became the top good guy, but was there for HBK Razor Ramon Ascension, deeming him relegated to below that. So, it's just too many other guys taking the spotlight away. I think it's an interesting and an old school, really clever answer.
I agree.
Another clever answer.
At X Adam Acid X, one of the unluckiest wrestlers would have to be the unfortunately named Lucky Cannon. Dude looked like Adam Cole's younger brother, but only had a thimbleful of Cole's talent and charisma.
What a great ironic answer. The guy's name is Lucky, but super unlucky doesn't get over.
At PYRATESMAK, the man WWE loves to hate and may just be your king of the ring, Baron Corbin.
For Lucky, yes.
Yes.
Then we've got our great friend Graham at MGB Graham.
This is my favorite answer, by the way, out of all of them.
Graham's?
Yep.
Okay. Graham, you got the favorite answer this week. So, luckiest, Orange Cassidy. Anyone else who put their hands in their pockets would get the bleep kicked out of them. Unluckiest, Paige. Career ended far too soon with neck injury and then reinvented as a great GM only for WWE to go in a different GM-free direction.
Yeah, and now
So why is that your favorite?
Well, because I completely agree on the Paige thing on two fronts, like he just mentioned. And, you know, she was unlucky on a lot of stuff that we don't even have to get into. And then the Orange Cassidy, you know, again, we've talked about it. His gimmick isn't necessarily for me, even though it does make me laugh a little bit, but it's just not for me.
I can't believe you don't like it. It's so great. People were like making fun of how I said he could do so much without his hands. Yet last week, people on YouTube were like, ha ha ha, whatever. I just think the gimmick's cool. And I wouldn't be able to do a kip up without hands. That's crazy.
Well, that is true.
Insane athleticism. Anyway, we go onwards. At Psycho Nigiri, Tegan Knox is definitely the unluckiest, and the Young Bucks are probably the luckiest. I'd have to say the Young Bucks being lucky is pretty accurate. They've worked really hard, though, to get where they are. So
they've made a lot of their own luck, that's for sure.
It's a combination of luck and hard work, combined together to breed success, in my opinion.
Yep.
Then we've got, at PCH Nobog, Tetsuya Naito is the luckiest wrestler because every day he wakes up and he's Tetsuya Naito. Tangaloa is the unluckiest, though, because for most of his life, he's been known as Tama Tonga's brother. I have to disagree because I'm sure they love being brothers in real life.
And look,
they're really great together.
When they give Tangaloa the mic, he's been really good. Like, some of the stuff he did last year on the mic was great. So, I've mentioned before, they're one of my favorite tag teams just in general because of their whole ring presence. So
I love them.
So I don't think he's unlucky.
At Beef Stack 9, Seth and Becky. He doesn't say anything. He just said Seth. I'm guessing lucky.
Seth is the lucky and Becky's the unlucky,
or they're both lucky.
Or they're both lucky, or they're both. Well, they're not. There's no way they're unlucky. That's for sure.
No, they're at the top.
Yeah. So
anyway, so our last and final answer, our good friend, Good Guy Dave at Dave Pozeski. Luchasaurus is a super lucky wrestler. You wouldn't think that a big man with a dinosaur gimmick would get over, but he has connected with the crowd in every match and live appearance I've seen. Then EC3 is unlucky because his momentum from NXT has completely stalled. He could have been great. And like we said earlier, not just from NXT, but from Impact.
Yeah.
It's just gone down and down and down. Great answers, Dave.
Yep, I agree. So now, how about you weigh in? Who's your lucky and who's your unlucky?
Well, it's so weird that you were saying lucky as a bad thing, because I was going to say the luckiest wrestler I can think of right now is Ospreay, but it's a mixture of hard work and luck. I think he just has supreme talent. Yes, that takes work, but I think it's also a bit of luck and a bit of, like, you're born with it. So to me, he's lucky in that way. He's got this undefinable charisma and also this amazing athleticism that very few people have that high of athleticism and can go, that extreme with their match quality. He just has insane match quality, match after match after match. I mean, it's been his year. So to me, he's the luckiest, especially this year. He could be Wrestler of the Year. What about you? Yeah. What's your luckiest?
Well, I think somebody had him as an unlucky, but I'm going to say Jon Moxley. I think he's been lucky because he got out of WWE. Best thing that could have happened to him because he is so over right now, whether it's in AEW or when he wrestles in the show on those shows in the Northeast, obviously in New Japan, winning the title, and the crowd seems to just love his entrance and everything about him. So I think he's lucky because he got away from WWE and didn't have to do some of Vince's childish jokes and got to be what he really wanted to be.
I mean, he was unlucky for a while because he hated being there, but you're right, I think his luck has changed overall. Despite being injured, he's coming back strong very soon.
Meanwhile, for my unluckiest, I agree with the one answer when you can say about 3/4 of the wrestlers. The ones I'm going to point out the most, I think Cesaro is very close to the top of my list. I mean, the dude has immense talent, and the crowd loves him, yet they've never given him a singles push for whatever reason. I think Samoa Joe is unlucky right now. I mean, the crowd went insane at MSG for him the other night. He is an awesome wrestler. He's not getting any younger, so he needs to get the push sooner than later. He's great as a villain. I mean, he's great the way he insults people. So I think he's unlucky that he hasn't gotten that push yet. Hopefully it's still coming.
So my unlucky wrestler currently, I guess I would have to say Cesaro and agree with you because I really love Cesaro. I just think he's never gotten the push he's deserved, and he could be the top guy. He could be great. He even is good on the mic. As many people as, has criticized his mic abilities, I like him. I remember this one promo years and years ago where it seemed unscripted at least. It was awesome. He was kind of criticizing the whole landscape and like the brass ring type of thing and said, I am reaching for it. It just seemed really raw and real, and I thought that was great. So I think he's been kind of unlucky in that Vince maybe doesn't see him as a top guy, possibly. But ultimately, I would have to say, I guess even more so than Cesaro, Sami Zayn.
Yeah.
Because he's my favorite. He's like my top 3 favorite, number 3 specifically, because it's Suzuki, then it's Will Ospreay, and then it's Sammy. But he never gets a push, but he's an amazing wrestler. And yeah, he gets TV time, which is different than Cesaro, who doesn't get as much TV time. But Sammy gets the time, but he gets mowed over, like with The Undertaker. So overall, I think Sammy's pretty unlucky, at least in WWE. If you look back at his indie career, just was incredible. It's just not the same to me. If you look back at his match, we've talked about this many times, against Shinsuke Nakamura in NXT, one of my favorite matches ever, and now he just loses all the time, and he'll never get a title.
No.
I mean, of course I want him to, but I can't see it happening. Yeah. And then if we were doing this question like a year ago, I would probably say Kenta, because he used to get injured so much back when he was with NXT, as, a Tommy.
I agree.
But now his luck has changed, and he's lucky again.
He is. All right, so great answers. Thanks for participating in our lucky and unlucky wrestlers poll. More fun polls like that still to come. We want to remind you that we have a Patreon page, and we would love for you to support it. We've got all sorts of great levels. One of the levels, the $5 level, will get you a sports discussion with me twice a month. If you don't know, I'm a regular in the sports TV journalism world. I cover a lot of football, so obviously talking football on a Tuesday once the weekend of games is over, if you want to join in on that. And so we're going to start that this coming Tuesday.
eventually, when hockey starts, hockey too.
Yes, yes.
Not that there's many hockey fans.
Now, if you want to discuss NASCAR or something, you're probably out of luck.
But you know soccer and you like golf and you like a lot of sports.
I do.
So
I do.
just not NASCAR.
Well,
I don't really think it's a sport.
Well,
so, personally.
And, there's other sports I'm not into. Well, especially during football season, I think it'll be mainly about football. But we'll release specifically when that discussion's going to happen. But the first one will be Tuesday.
Yep, we're hoping so if we can get people tuned in. But you could find the Patreon at patreon.com/superkickingit. That's SUPERKICKINGIT, just like my Twitter handle. Literally, our website, too, is superkickingit.com. And our merch has superkickingit.com in it as well. So, like, everything is superkickingit in it. And then you could find a lot of other stuff at twofacepod.com. So, check out the Patreon. And as we're about to go into my tweet of the week, a bonus that Patreon members get is they get to see all of my tweet of the week, like, nominations. Like, every week I have, like, 10 tweets that I'm picking between. And we only read one on the podcast, sometimes two. But you guys don't get to hear all the other choices that I almost picked. But if you're a Patreon member, at any level, you get to see which tweets almost made the cut on the podcast.
Very cool. And we want to say, speaking of very cool, these people that are Patreon supporters, we thank you. You guys are very cool. Yeah,
Alex, Charles Fitzpatrick, Graham, of course, Graham and Mason at MGB Wrestling Pod, Jason Spann, we've got John at Big Paws on a Pup, Nigel, Randy with 7 zeros and a 1, and our great friend Anthony at Smark to Death.
Thanks to all of you. And look, if you can't support us on Patreon, which we hope you do, but if you can't, there are other ways you can support us.
Rate the podcast. If you love the podcast, you want it to grow, get bigger and better, and you want more people to listen to us, and you want us to stay around, rating the podcast and reviewing us, hopefully positively if you like us, that will get us a lot further ahead on the iTunes charts and the podcasting charts.
And the Google,
Yeah, analytics. Yep. It's very important. So please, rate us, review us. It would mean a lot, and we would thank you.
You mentioned the tweet of the week. What is your tweet of the week this week?
All right, so my tweet of the week, it's kind of hard to describe it because it's a picture, but I'm going to do my best. If you're watching on YouTube, you'll see the picture. I'm going to put it up. But it's from at 90s Maniacs with a Z, and it's a picture of Hulk Hogan holding his old WCW belt, and he's surrounded by 3 Power Rangers, the Red Ranger, the Pink Ranger, and the Black Ranger. And if you're a 90s fan like me, you love Power Rangers, hopefully, like I do. And I'm drinking out of a Power Ranger cup today, so it's all thematic.
And it's 90s Maniacs with an X. You said with a Z, but with an X, yes.
Oops, with an X.
You know, I do that all the time with X and Z. I do that
I've never done that ever until today.
Like when I'm taking notes and I'm writing down Miz, I call him Mix on my notes so many times. I don't know why.
That's
I don't know why X and Z get transposed.
So I'm not the only one.
No.
Sorry about that. Yeah, 90s Maniacs with an X.
I want to just send out or close out the show and send you home with something. I know I don't do it every week, but I was really impressed with what WWE did this week with their shows leading to a pay-per-view, which are generally, half the show is filler with interviews and promotion. Now, granted, I think part of it was because they were at MSG, but I hope they use this blueprint going forward because you had some good stuff. You had Cedric and AJ, which obviously would set up for this weekend's Clash of Champions. But like other things that I thought they did, showcasing Grand Metalik, I thought was a great idea on a pay-per-view week, getting fans a chance to see him in action against Rey Mysterio, which turned out to be a great match that MSG was really into. Then the 10-man tag with the Viking Raiders and Cedric with Rollins and Braun Strowman. But they really showcased Cedric in that match, and they really showcased the Viking Raiders. I thought that's important to do. If those guys are not, any of these guys that are not going to be on the pay-per-views, they should be showcased on the television shows during the week. Give them a chance to shine. Get some momentum behind these guys so that more people care about more than just Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch. You want the deep roster that you have to get the exposure it deserves. So kudos to WWE this week for doing that. Again, I know part of it was because it was at MSG, but hopefully that's a blueprint that they follow going forward.
I doubt it, but there's wishful thinking.
Yeah, it
would be good. Thinking. It would be good if they continued that on. I agree with that. Great point, Paul.
Yeah, I think so.
So, pretty good first show. See, it's not a pretty good show. Pretty good first solo show, I guess. Not really, but maybe so. Thank you guys for sticking with us and checking us out. But, we've got lots more to talk about next week. Yeah, and that should be a jam-packed show.
We'll have the New Japan results from this past weekend, the Clash of Champions. Don't forget, the first NXT on USA is next week, so we may actually do a little talking about that in next week's show. There's a Ring of Honor show coming up in 2 weeks, so we'll be talking about that down the road. And AEW is right around the corner too.
Another thing right around the corner, NWA, they're doing their whole studio-based show coming up soon at the end of September, beginning of October. They just named new tag team champs. Check out their YouTube channel. Just type in NWA, you'll be able to find it. Or National Wrestling Alliance, you could find it that way too. And you could find out who won. Their match is up there right now. And also, they just announced Jim Cornette's going to be one of the announcers. Take that how you want to, because some people hate Cornette, some people love him because of the nostalgia. I'm not the biggest fan, but NWA is consistent. They did use him for the 70th anniversary show, so they're using him again. So we'll be talking more about NWA as time goes on.
Yeah, we will.
But for this week, that's it for us. That's the finish.